Peace, family. Okay, so I hope you guys are having a phenomenal day. My name is Dina Bryant. Okay, I do these inspirational videos just talking about life in general, talking about the laws of the universe, talking about manifestation, also talking about the paradigm, right? The habits that we continuously do on a day in and day out basis. Okay. If you are new to my channel and if you are feeling the content, okay, or the energy, honey, make sure you guys subscribe to my YouTube channel. Okay, so today's video is how I went from looking like this, okay, into going natural. Okay, so first off, I'm gonna take you guys back. I always have stories. I always bring the stories to ya, okay, so you guys could see and create a visual of what I'm saying, right? I love telling stories because it's just something about it, right? It makes you guys remember and it's entertaining. So from an early age, I remember staying with my grandmother. Okay, you guys know, many of you guys know, I grew up in a project. Okay, but living with my grandmother, and I remember if you looked in a mirror too long, or if you was always in a mirror, my grandmother, she would say, you sure love the mirror, right? Or if you say stuff like, dad gotta look good, my grandmother would say, you don't say that, you let other people say that. And so from that early age, and I loved my grandmother. My grandmother was kind, sweet, very wise. And but what that did to me, that made me feel like I needed to seek outside validation. So I didn't feel like, if I was to say that I look good, right? I didn't feel like worthy of it. I didn't feel that my words mattered more so than a stranger words, right? And so growing up, my self-esteem was low. Okay, it was pretty low, and I always seeked outside validation, right? I always wanted people to tell me how good I looked. I always wanted people to tell me that I was kind, I was beautiful, I mattered, I was enough. I wanted other people to tell me because I felt my words wasn't good enough for me to tell myself that. And so where it showed mostly about my low self-esteem was the relationships that I chose. And although I looked at this type of way or this type of way, right, I still felt like I wasn't good enough, right? Imagine, you shopping, you getting paid, you working from Monday to Friday, you getting paid on Fridays, and you just taking all your money and you using all your money to buy clothes, to buy shoes, perfume, jewelry, just so you could get a compliment, just so people could acknowledge you, just so people could validate who you are. And yeah, I loved, shopping and stuff like that. But how I knew that it was really, really bad is because it was a few times I allowed my lights to get cut off. It was a few times I allowed my cell phone to get cut off. It was a few times that I allowed, my bills to be not paid because I wanted to shop so bad, right? I had a problem. And a lot of times we talk about other people like, oh, they got that addiction, but many times we have an addiction too. It may not look like somebody else's addiction, right? Them getting high, whatever it is like that. But you can have a sex addiction. You can have a shopping addiction, right? You can have a lying addiction, right? So you can have like many addictions. And so how did I fix this, right? How did I start, coming to terms that, one, my self-esteem is like jacked up, okay? That's one. And what did it for me was I had a good friend, and he was a guy, and I was working at a hardware store at this particular time. And I remember I would go to him all the time and I would tell him, like, you know, let's just say his name is Anthony. And I would go to him and I would be like, Anthony, let me tell you what this guy done did. And I would always tell him, I would do like a dump, right? You know, a lifestyle, like what I was going through, I would just dump it all on him. And he never was judgmental. He never said to me like, don't come to me with your problems, whatever. And he was like fairly older, probably like 10 years different from me. And I would tell him all my business, right? The guys I was sleeping with, you know, what was going on. I would tell him everything, right? And I remember one time he said to me, he said, Dina, if you keep on messing with these guys, you're going to get to in your 30s and you never going to know what love feels like. And that scared me. Like, that scared me. Although it scared me, I was in denial. I was like, no, I will know what love feels like. I don't believe that, because who wants to hear that, right? Who wants to hear what they're doing, right, is not working? And so I remember he would tell me that. I didn't believe it. And I would just keep getting into relationships, looking for validation. Although I looked a certain way on the outside, I still felt I wasn't good enough. And so what happened was, I always would have this epiphany, right? In the epiphany, I would always go in the bathroom, and I would always go in the bathroom, and I would just keep saying, I know I wasn't created for this. Like, I know I wasn't created just to work and pay bills. I know I wasn't created. It was like a knowing. It was like, I knew that I was better than this. I knew I was better than the results I was getting. Although I didn't know how I was getting those results. At that time, I didn't understand that it was because I was allowing this story to keep on running, right? I'm not good enough. You know, me experiencing abandonment as a child, me feeling like I wasn't worthy of love, because, you know, you tend to think, especially if you have any type of abandonment experiences, you tend to think that you're not good enough, right? If you don't do the work on yourself, you tend to think that you're not good enough, because the person that you wanted to be in your life, right, they wasn't in your life. Or they was there, but you felt like they should have been there more, right? And they should have done better. And what I understand now is that my parents, they did the best that they knew how to do, right? They did the best that they knew how to do. Somebody cannot give you oranges if all they have is apples, right? And so what I realized was I needed to start doing the work on myself. And I remember I came across this video, and it just changed everything. It changed everything. It changed the way I seen things. I stopped falling for the illusions, feeling like I need, you know, so many things outside of my existence in order to feel like I'm worthy, and in order to feel like I matter. And I just started doing the work on myself. And this is not like a one-time thing. So you're like, oh, well, I did the work on myself. I've been doing the work on myself for 10 years, right? It's like a continuous thing. And I will continue to do the work on myself until I release this avatar. So some of the things that I did was I started affirming me. Okay, I started affirming myself. I started telling myself I am worthy, I am enough, I am beautiful, I am kind, I am loving, abundance is my birthright. Those are some of the affirmations I would do. I started investing. Okay, I started investing into myself. I started paying for personal development, going to seminars, watching tons and tons of personal development on YouTube, right? And also I started meditating, because what I feel is, how could we say we want somebody to be this or somebody to be that, and we want somebody to spend time, to love us, and all these other things, and we don't even like being alone by ourselves, right? So I started meditating. Also, I just started focusing on what I do want. Okay, not focusing on what you don't want. Right? I know ideas come up, like, you know, sometimes we think like, oh, what if this could go, or what if that could go? But I started focusing on what I do want, right? Start focusing, writing down what I do want, and paying attention to that. Also, gratitude. I write down a gratitude journal each and every morning, writing down what I'm grateful for, what I'm thankful for. Okay. And then I'm thinking of, I started reading, right? In fact, I had an ex of mine who was such a delight. I remember he would tell me, he would be like, go read a book. And he would say that in a sense where as though, like, basically calling me stupid, calling me dumb. And I remember how that felt when he would say it. And I still stayed with him. I still stayed with him. And it's so funny because when he would say those things, like I would take offense, but then later on I started reading. I started reading the books, right? I started reading a book so I could, understand other people's story and get the wisdom and then apply it to my own life, right? So sometimes you got to be careful what you wish for, right? And so with that being said, I hope you guys got some value from this video. Do understand you are worthy, you are enough, you matter. Do get nothing outside of your existence is more important than you. And instead of you seeking other people's validation, one of the things I highly, highly, highly encourage you is to spend some time with you. Get in a mirror. Start telling yourself how beautiful you are. Start telling yourself how worthy you are, how loved you are, how you matter, how you are enough. And that works because I tell you guys all the time, the subconscious mind does not know fantasy from reality. Whatever you put into the subconscious mind and you add some impressions, you have, emotions along with it. It just takes it for what it is. And so with that being said, make sure you guys believe in yourself. Make sure you know that life is actually working in your favor. I'll catch you at the next video.